Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, all glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem HaKadosh. That warns the apostles and all the great millstone for teaching us His truth. Peace and blessings to the whole collective Israel and Shalom. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Ancient Hebrew. By Hashem means his name, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back on our lesson. And today we're going to go into these deep fakes and how they will be used in order to persecute and to demonize the prophets, to paint us in a bad way, and also to bring blame on the ministry. You know, because these devils are going to do everything in their power to put a stop to this truth. And you already see what they're doing by the way, different algorithm changes that they have made to the social media sites. I mean, you even had an article come out dealing with PayPal, where they were fining people $2,500 for so-called misinformation. And you see on YouTube the shadow banning that's taking place, where they're making it harder for our videos and channels to be found. You know, so you see the direction these devils are moving towards, especially dealing with these deep fakes. Nothing good will come from these deep fakes, and not many people are able to see that. You know, what good will come from a person's face being used on another person, as well as these AI voices, as you're about to see right here in this video, which kind of spurred me on to making a lesson, as well as been seeing other videos popping up of AI, pretty much being used in order to integrate other celebrities or artist voices to do covers of another song, or even to create a new song that they wrote up themselves. But this Big Boy reacts to fake Kanye West and Kendrick Lamar songs made with AI. So once they're able to pull their voice from an interview or previous songs and just it's like we're form an algorithm in order to basically say what they want them to say. And really that's nothing but a forefront in order to push E's agenda. Using that as a face that we can do all these amazing things with AI voices and these deep fakes. Nothing good will come from it, man. I mean, we're speaking of Esau, Edom here. Job 9:24, how the world is given to the hand of the wicked. Psalms 55 and 58, going to how this devil is a liar and not to be trusted. Once again, what thought comes to your mind of the deep fakes being used for good? None. But let's play a quick video right here. I don't want to drag this out. I know it's a kind of a short lesson, but just play a quick little snippet of this. I don't want to get my video taken down because they are using these voices in order to cover another song.
Think I'm crying on my own, well I ain't.
That sound like Kanye doing that, man.
And I didn't want to write a song.
How?
Like someone can straight up make you think that they got the Kanye feature.
Yeah, man.
Even for a moment, and then boom.
Big Boy's Neighborhood. All right.
Hey, there you go. And even saw years back, like 7+ years ago, Key and Peele, I forget the exact person that made it, but I think it was Peele. It was doing an impression of Obama, with his own voice, but they AI integrated Obama's face onto him to make it seem like Obama was saying something completely crazy. So imagine the years of advancement that they have made dealing with these deep fakes, especially now with the AI voices that you are seeing. You can definitely see how these things will be used in order to persecute the prophets and demonize us. You already see the hate that we receive for teaching in the name of Yahweh by Hashem Shai. So imagine when these devils start using our own voices and slapping our faces onto other people to make it seem like we did something, and you already see the accusations going out. You see a certain situation and somehow it correlates back to so-called black Hebrew Israelites, and it was like those were black into the mix, to group us and all that, but somehow it always comes back to us, and ultimately their main goal is to put blame on the ministry and to put a stop to this truth, but you will not be able to, because you doing so is fulfilling prophecy. These guys wanting to stop this truth from spreading, wanting to put a stop to this war, but in doing so you're fulfilling prophecy, doing the exact opposite of what you want to do.
Hey, man, we got to get into this, man. Big Boy
which I'm really gonna watch this video, so we'll see what we can get right here. Probably play up to a minute.
reacts to AI taking over, and not just taking over. There's also some portions of hip hop that AI is taking over, man. So this is Big Boy reacts to AI take.
And I mentioned earlier, you see a lot of these artist voices being used in order to create music and to do covers, and you've been seeing a lot of videos popping up, about those
taking
recently.
over hip hop and artificial intelligence. We've been hearing so much more about this.
Yeah,
man, and it's crazy because you know how people always say, "Oh, the future is here. The future is here." In the last month, just the last month, not the last few months, probably top of the year, we've been hearing so much about artificial intelligence, AI,
And I think-
go ahead, honey.
I was going to say the accessibility of it. It's
Oh my
not
gosh,
just like,
man.
oh, these big corporations.
Yeah.
It's just like anybody.
It's
And that's a good point right there, because you see many people at their own home, making these, AI voices, using artists, voices to create music and do all these different things. And that's just the people at home. You've seen videos popping left and right of artists' voices being used to create music, and that's just people at their own home, with their own laptops or computers that they got. So imagine these devils, man, with things that they got behind the scenes, the things that they're cooking up. Come on. And you already see these devils adding transcripts and all these different things to the YouTube videos, where it pretty much tracks every word that you have said in the video and slaps it into text, in order to be used against us in these court systems and all that. Because these devils are paving the way in order to once again bring blame to the ministry, to paint us in a bad way. There's truth, and once again there's already hate that comes our way. So you can already imagine the things that these devils will do and use against us, But the scriptures go into it, man, and that's part, and the law of the prophet, to be demonized, to face persecution, just as our Lord Yahushua was persecuted, But you better get right here. This is John 15:18-20. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. And you already see, the hate on a lower scale now, being called a hate group, cult, and all these different names that they like to conjure up, extremists and all these different things in order to, put a, what's what I'm looking for? Just a so-called emphasis on how so-called bad we are and all that. Now it says, if you were of the world will love his own. Because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world. Therefore the world hates you. And so we're looked upon as crazy or abnormal, the so-called odd one out. When in reality, they're the odd ones out. We've seen wickedness being praised and put on a pedestal, and just goes to show how out of whack and out of order things really are. Because once you go against the grain, against the fashions of this world, that's when you're, the so-called black sheep. Now, if you're of the world is his own, but because you're not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. So we're going to face, the persecution, demonization, hate, for preaching in the name of Yahweh Shemashah, for going against the grain and just the way that the society is, set up. Verse 20. Now, so remember the word that I sent unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. So showing you we're not exempt from these coming afflictions, the persecution, the demonization, the hate, and everything that's coming our way. But that's why we got to continue to, pursue after Yahweh Shemashah, seek out the Lord, and pray that Yahweh Shemashah have mercy upon us and give us strength and the spirit to endure these things. Because it's not going to be easy, That's why the scripture goes into, blessed are ye when men shall revile you, Because that's what's coming. It's not on the lower scale now, but it's only going to increase now that you're seeing the advancements in deepfakes, especially dealing with the voices, man. Because they can just, pull your voice from your videos, and because brother's been pushing out, tons and tons of lessons and videos, thousands upon thousands. Videos are going out, man. Especially, brothers' channels, holding over, 1,000+ videos of just themselves. So you can already see how they'll, try to, pull from those videos and use our own voices against us and slap our faces onto other people's to make it seem like we did things when we didn't. So you're seeing come if the eyes to see. So I scripture going to 2 Corinthians 2:11. How we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Once again, we're speaking of Esau, Edom here. The devil the Bible speaks of. He's not to be trusted. So I scripture going to him literally being labeled as and named the border of wickedness, man. Verse 20, if I didn't read this yet. Remember the word that I sent to you, the servant is not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. So children are not exempt from those things. If they have kept my saying, they will keep yours also. So be held accountable for the things that we say. That's why we got to be, really prepared and ready for these coming times and know what you signed up for. Because it's only going to, be taken to a whole another level. Now, as Matthew 5:11, I was kind of mentioning, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. As we see the ill things that are being, said to our apostles, our elders, especially dealing with these other camps, are saying it themselves. Bucking up against, our teachers, our elders who taught us this truth, who pretty much raised us, as our spiritual fathers within this word, this truth, as well as just dealing with the people of the world. We're going to be, people are going to be bearing false witness and saying just tons of things in order to, get us thrown into jail, even killed, just as they did our Lord Yahushua, Read it from time to time, Matthew 5:11. It's what these devils be using these deepfakes, these AI voices for, to bring more, heat or, blame to the ministry, to try to put a stop to this word, this truth. But once again, them doing so is fulfilling prophecy, because the Lord is ultimately, ushering and bringing about, the famine of the word slowly but surely. That's why it's important to seek out Yahweh Shemashah before it's too late, and gain as much of this knowledge, this truth as you can. Now, let's get a few more scriptures I got. Like I said, I don't want to make this a super long lesson. Matthew 10:22. As said, he shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. So, we're being hated for Yahweh's name's sake. Verse 23, but when they persecute you in the city, flee you to another, for verily I say unto you, you shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man be come. And to Anna's point earlier, the disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. So you get that point right there. Now, let's get a few more. Just flying through these, Amos 8:11-12. So we're saying now, with famine of the word, and it's brewing fast. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor thirst for water, but hearing the words of Yahweh Shemashah. Of course, there will be a physical famine, but also a spiritual one, dealing with the famine of the word. The Lord's going to take his prophets up the highways and hedges, shut down his internet, to where you won't be able to obtain this truth, this word any longer. Now it says, verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh Shemashah, and shall not find it. So many people are trying to seek out the prophets, trying to seek out this truth, this word, but they will not be able to find it. So as scripture mentioned also how the Lord's going to shut the mouths of his prophets. He's going to make their tongue cleave to the roof of their mouth. Should not be to them a reprover. These are times that we were coming into. Now, we got a few more scriptures, and like I said, we shut down from there. Job 9:24, as I mentioned earlier. We're speaking of Esau, Edom here, so what makes you think that these deep fakes will be used for so-called good? Now, let's get Job 9:24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So we're speaking of the literal wicked. Scripture going to Malachi 1:4. Esau even being named the literal border of wickedness. Now, next to a few scriptures, Psalm 55:21, because ultimately they're using, these deepfakes that you see with the music that's coming out. They're using celebrities and artists' voices to do and create things, and how it's cool, and people are seeing the so-called benefits of it, and all that. It's not but a forefront to really be using it to push their agenda. But Psalm 55:21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but the war was in his heart. This devil may seem kind or brotherly even, but really in his mind, in his heart, he's seeking to do mischief against you. Now, so the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. This devil is a natural born liar. Also mentioning Psalm 58:3. Came out the womb lion, estranged from the womb. His words were as soft than oil, yet were they drawn swords. The devil will butter you up and then take you out. Now, let's close these last few scriptures, Isaiah 33:6. Now it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be stability to thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Shai is his treasure. So it's important to gain as much of this knowledge, this truth as you can, before it's too late, because the Lord's going to strip it away very, very soon. And this was going to keep us sane and keep us stable and pushing during these times, even when we're faced with these coming persecutions, the demonization, the hate. Because many people are going to crack under that pressure and bend the knee. But that's why the Lord has been putting us through certain situations in order to build our character to endure these coming times. Now, let's close these last two. 2 Corinthians 11, as I mentioned earlier. However, not ignorant of Satan's devices. This is 2 Corinthians 11. The Satan should evangelist, but we were not ignorant of his devices. We see what these devil's plans are and how these things will ultimately be used. Sure, they maybe say it's used for artists that passed on this side and using their voice to create new music for the fans and all these different things. Nothing good will come from these deepfakes. You best believe that. Once again, what good comes from using another man's face and slap it onto another person? None. But you see they can use it in movies and do all these different things, makes it easier to use CGI. Like, man, shut up. Keep believing that. Now, 2 Corinthians 13 and 8. And it says, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. These devils are trying to stop and hold prophecy, yet they are fulfilling it, doing the exact opposite of what they wanted to do. Once again, one more time. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. And in doing so, these devils are going to be more light to the truth, and ultimately fulfillment of prophecy, which these steps need to be taken in order for us to get to the kingdom and our Lord's return. So these things need to happen and take place. So pretty much the main point already. Like I said, I don't want to make this a super long lesson, but Lord's will, it was edifying. And just goes to show, those types of things, devils are, once again, going to use these things for ultimately, if you have the eyes to see. But I do want to close out. I want to give all praise on glory to Al Basham Mashai, Basham Kakadash, that wants the apostles, and also great millstone for teaching us his truth. Peace and blessings to the whole collective of Israel, and Shalom.